Welcome everyone. This is the MasterClass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of experience in teaching and I would like to help dispel your doubts should you have any. Today we are going to study the chapter A Living God written by the author Lafcadio Hearn. Hearn, born in 1850, died in 1904, was a Greek-Irish writer. He became an interpreter of Japanese culture for the Western world. He went to Japan, married a Japanese woman, took the name Koizumi Yakumo and became a naturalized citizen. He taught English literature at several Japanese universities. He wrote on Japanese folklore, their customs and their spirituality. Glimpses of Unfamiliar Japan and Kaidan, the books he wrote, helped introduce Western readers to Japanese ghost stories, legends, as well as cultural practices. How important is money to you? Would you be willing to give up your wealth if you could save the lives of a couple of hundred people? We go back to the 1890s. This is Japan. We are at a small village. The headman of this village is a person called Hamaguchi Gohei. He is alternately called the Choja, a title given to the richest man in the village. He is also referred to as Oji-san, which is grandfather. Hamaguchi used to act as judge in the villages. People used to listen to him. If they needed money, perhaps as a loan, perhaps they needed some help, they always knew that the headman would help them out. They used to go to him and they used to accept whatever solutions he offered to the problems that they had. His house is at the top of a plateau. From the plateau, terraces are cut going right down to the village. The plateau and the terraces are planted with rice. The village has around 90 huts and a Shinto temple. There is a festival going to be held in the village. It is being decorated. People are getting ready for it. In fact, Hamaguchi Gohei and his young grandson Tada are the only people in the house, his children, and everybody else in the household having gone down to the village early. He has not gone down because he wasn't feeling well. It is extremely hot. In fact, almost unbearably so. Could the heat be an indicator of an earthquake that is about to hit them? There is an earthquake, and Hamaguchi-san knows at once that something is wrong. Why? Because it's not like a normal earthquake which shakes you. This was more like a spongy feeling, soft almost. His eyes are caught by the sea. There seems to be something wrong, and then he realizes what it is. Instead of flowing into the land, the sea is receding away. The people in the village have not felt the earthquake, but they have definitely seen the sea, so everyone has rushed down to the seashore. Why is that? The receding sea has exposed rocks and formations that were previously not visible, and also a very strange thing to happen. Nobody had ever seen or heard of such a phenomenon. But Hamaguchi-san remembered the time when his grandfather had told him about just such an event happening. He knew what was going to happen. He realized he would have to warn the people. He thought for an instant that he would run to the Buddhist temple on the hill and ask them to ring the bell so that everyone could be warned about the coming danger. He realized that would be too little, too late. So he called to his grandson, "Bring me a lit pine torch." The grandson obliged. He took the torch, walked down to his rice bales, which has been left to dry in the sun after being harvested, and he thrust the torch into the first one. It instantly burst into flame because it was totally dried, and he kept on doing so, setting fire to bale after bale of harvested rice. His grandson did not understand what had happened to his grandfather. Had he gone mad? Why was he doing what he was doing? His grandfather did not even bother to answer his questions. The young boy, confused, burst into tears and ran back towards the house. At the temple, the monk realized there was a fire burning and began to ring the bell. Hearing the sound of the bell, the villagers immediately started up the hill in order to put off the blaze. The first runners came, the young, but the headman stopped them. He said, "No, let it burn. I want the entire village to come up here." Slowly, they all reached up. The young, the old, the women, the children. And there was a murmur going around. Why has this man set fire to the rice? Why has this man set fire to his entire fortune? After all his wealth is tied up in the rice. His grandson is going around crying, telling everyone, "My grandfather did this. I don't know whether he is mad or not." The only person who is calm is Hamaguchi. Then he suddenly points to the sea and tells them, "See." And what do they observe? A great tsunami comes and it crashes into the village. Not once, not twice, but 5 times. Each time with less force. The village is completely wiped out. In fact, right up the mountain, the terrace fields are almost nearly wiped out. All that remains are the house on the plateau and the plateau itself. Then Hamaguchi-san tells them, "This is why I set fire to the rice." He wanted to save his villages. He had saved 400 souls, and he did not regret his actions. The villagers were struck dumb by the tsunami and the devastation that it had caused. Their entire village had been destroyed, their fields had been swept away. There was nothing left. They realized whom they owed their lives to. They bowed down in front of Hamaguchi-san. They prostrated themselves. They lay down flat on the ground. He was a happy man that day. He was as poor as the poorest of them. He had no money. He had burnt everything. But he was glad that he had been able to save so many lives. He told them, "Don't worry, there is enough place in my house for some of you, and the others can always go to the temple on the hill, and thus we will survive." And they did. Remember, it was the 1890s. News of the tsunami did take time to reach and for help to come from the center, from the capital. But help did come. Over time, the village recovered. How to thank Hamaguchi? How to thank their Oji-san? The people knew that giving him money was not an option. He did not require it. They built a temple when they rebuilt their village. They built a temple in his honor. They set his name in a stone tablet in words of gold because they worshipped the divine that lay inside him. They considered only the spirit of a living God could give up so much to save people. Till day, it is said, that temple stands. And till day, the legend of Hamaguchi, the headman, the Choja, everybody's Oji-san, lives on. Who are the characters in the story? Hamaguchi Gohei. He's an elderly, wealthy village headman. He is known for his wisdom, his generosity, and his community leadership. Tada, the grandson, a 10-year-old boy who witnesses what his grandfather does. He is confused and displays fear. The village community. They are hardworking farmers celebrating their harvest. They are ready to leave everything to help one of their own. What are the settings over here? Coastal Japan. We are at Hamaguchi's farmhouse, which is on a plateau overlooking the bay. We can see a village that has 90 thatched houses, as also a Shinto temple. Along the curve of the bay, the rice terraces are above it. There is a Buddhist temple on the hill. What are the literary devices used here? Foreshadowing. We are told about the oppressive heat, the earthquake, and the strange behavior of the sea. Everything helps to build up tension in the air. It says something bad is going to happen, a disaster is going to come. Then there is symbolism, the burning of the rice stacks. Rice has material value. It also became the means of the salvation. The fire itself is a symbol of sacrifice and warning. There is dramatic irony. We as readers understand why Hamaguchi has done what he has done. But the villagers initially think that he has gone mad, and they wonder what to do with such an important person. Imagery. There are vivid descriptions of the receding sea, ribbed sand and reaches of weed-hung rock. The tsunami, towering like a cliff, and the destruction. They all combine to create a strong visual impact. You have metaphor and simile. The villages rush like a swarming of ants, and the returning wave is described as coursing more swiftly than the kite flies. Contrast. The peaceful harvest celebration is juxtaposed against the violent natural disaster that will take place or has taken place. What are the themes that run through the story? The most important, self-sacrifice. Hamaguchi destroys his entire wealth just to save somebody else. That is the ultimate act of selflessness. Wisdom and experience. Traditional knowledge is passed down from father to son, from generation to generation. And that wisdom, that experience proves invaluable in this time of need. Natural disaster and human vulnerability. The story tells us how human beings are powerless against nature. When nature decides to strike, it strikes ruthlessly, destroying everything in its path. Leadership and responsibility. What is true leadership? A good leader makes difficult decisions for the betterment of everybody, not just for a few. Gratitude and reverence. The response of the community, the building of the temple, shows how a simple act, an act of heroism, can go even beyond ordinary human recognition. It can make a human being a divine person. There is the harmony between the human and the divine. This story tries to purposely blur the line between the heroism of Hamaguchi and divine intervention. Did not God, in the form of Hamaguchi, help save the villages? That's the chapter there for you then. I do hope I have been able to help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe and share. There might be others who would be requiring our help. Thank you so much for watching.